What's up? It is Fire with Dad. We're live.
Fire with Dad, baby. Cha-ching.
Hey, Dad, I got big news.
What's that?
I bought a mouse for my computer, and I don't know if
Orange.
you. Well, it's always red, but it kind of looks orange. But I broke my mouse about a month ago. Or I don't break it; it just quit working. And I kept telling myself I was going to get a new one. And I've used a mouse for the last 12 years, and I got out of the habit of using one because I'd have one. And I finally went online yesterday, got one, it arrived today, and I'm just bebopping all over the screen. So I'm in a good mood.
Cha-ching.
So
my mom's mouse died, and I had to give her a new one too.
So it must be coronavirus has taken out mice all over the place.
Exactly. Mice are dead meat, baby.
So what I want to talk about is something that overlaps both of what we do for a living. Because I think that in business, a lot of people undervalue relationships. I think they undervalue them from a business side of it. And then I think that businesses undervalue it from a relationship standpoint with regards to how they communicate with their customers. I'll give you an example. What I'm talking about is on the restaurant side. I had a customer call me the other day. He's like, Matt, I want to get your feedback. What's worked? What have you seen the last 2 months that we haven't done correctly, that other restaurants you work with have done? What's resonated? And I said, to be quite honest with you, man, it's obvious that the people on your social media aren't the people that are in the restaurant talking to people on a daily basis. They're allowing a corporate office to post all their social media. I said, it looks like everybody else, but I'm going to guess that you're in there every day, shaking hands, kissing babies, having relationships. And he said, yeah. I said, well, that has to reflect online. And then also I have numerous customers that are actually up in business in April. One customer went from 90% dine-in and 10% online orders to 50% online orders and no dine-in. And his April was bigger this April at 4 of his 6 locations than last April. And we got to talking yesterday on a conference call, and he's like, Matt, it's coming down to people have told us they want to continue to support us because of our relationship. So I don't know what it is. I'm curious to your opinion, but I think that in business, you and I appreciate relationships on a B2B standpoint more than I think B2C does. Why is that?
Well, people have for some reason they forget about who put them there. And I give you an example. Forbes magazine last summer had an article that said that 85% of all business came from referrals from relationships. And yesterday I moderated a lunch and learn for the home builders, and we're about 35 people on the call, and we had 5 business people, the president of A&E Door, Adam, and I had president of JP Flooring, Phil Schlemper. I had Doug from Phantom Sound, and two of the big time builders in Cincinnati. And it's ironically enough, I asked them the same question: what makes your business successful? And you know what kept coming up? Relationships. Okay, relationships to my clients, relationships to the people I do business with, relationships to my vendors. That was a key thing. And quite honestly, A&E Door and JP Flooring both said their sales were up during the virus. Same thing as you're saying. It's all about the relationships.
And I think the encouraging part about that is if you're a business that, like, I was talking to the pizza place yesterday that's had an uptick during this, or you've seen your business go from 90% in-store ordering to 50% online. It's like, wow, how our entire way our clients interact with us changed in a matter of 60 days. Sales are up, but it's also encouraging because it shows you how much they support you. But I'll say this, that restaurant social media mimics the environment in the store. They don't have a corporate office making posts. They don't have a intern making generic posts. I think that too many times, from what I'm seeing, it's almost, imagine this, Dad. You do a lot of in-person networking, right?
Exactly.
Would you notice if I sent an intern to a chamber event in an orange hoodie that walked up and talked to you? Hey,
big
Wayne,
time.
How are you? So
big time. Not you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that maybe what I'm finding here is that too many businesses are sending pitch hitters to do their social media marketing because their online persona doesn't reflect what's in store, and that is affecting their online relationships. Like one of my clients today called it a digital table touch, which I had never heard that. Everybody knows the table touch. You've been to Quaker Steak and Lube in Florence. You've had Bob Jacoby walk up to your table and
all the time. I mean, I almost at the point where when I go in there, I'm always looking around to make sure to see if he's coming around. And within 5 or 10 minutes, here he comes.
yeah.
How you guys
And
doing? What can I do for you? What are you guys ordering tonight? Everything going okay? What's going on?
And so the concept this client talked about was that I look at my Facebook posts as digital table touches. So this is Albert. I don't know if you can see the screen, Dad. Albert says,
He's talking me out.
strange how potential clients want to have relationships with me for me to help them, but they do not care about doing the reverse for their customers. They just want to sell and make money and screw the rest. Yeah, I think unfortunately, there is that persona out there by some people that it's all a sales game. And at the end of the day, I've seen it with my business. I mean, my business isn't down a whole lot. Yeah, we've taken a hit. We've had some clients that have closed. We've had 2 restaurants that have permanently closed. We have a handful of clients right now that are temporarily closed. But then we have a lot of clients at capacity with regards to the capacity issues, and they can't pay what they normally paid. So we've taken a little hit, but honestly, we've actually had better, stronger conversations with customers because we sincerely care. And I try and put that out digitally where I also do in person.
Well, one of the things you're doing, which makes it big time fantastic, and it's something I've been preaching to my clients for the last month, and that is you go live, they see you, okay? They see you, you own the company, they see you, and you can relate to them. I'm trying to get my clients to go live on Facebook, on LinkedIn. And the reason why is if I see you, I can relate to you. If you throw somebody else out there or you put a video of Joe Dokes and you just don't get involved, that's not the same thing. I remember in our store, I used to have guys come to me all the time. So one of the neat things about our store was they could walk in the store and they could talk to the guy who owns the place.
Yeah.
They could actually negotiate with me or negotiate with you, the people who own the place. They could actually feel. And the thing is, if they had a problem, all they had to do is pick the phone. They're talking to me. They ain't talking to some yahoo. Okay. And the thing is that's a big thing. The people then become part of your family, and that's a big thing. And I've noticed one thing I've noticed is this: businessmen, they make the sale and they forget about you. Okay, what made my insurance agency as strong as it was when we had it was the fact that everybody became part of the Platt family. If you bought an insurance policy from me, I was connecting with you all the time. We had pig roasts, we had golf outings, we had Christmas parties, we had all kinds of things going on all the time. We were going out to lunch. I'd play golf with you. I'd do all kinds of stuff. And what it did was it made you part of the Platt family, and people then create a loyalty towards you. So when times get tough, okay, they're there. They're there to help you. But the thing is, if you do business with somebody and then you don't talk to them anymore, forget about who they are.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing in the whole world, because their customers make it great.
Something that caught my attention recently and kind of caught my ire. There's a restaurant I follow online. I know the owner. I know the brand. And the owner on Facebook was never non-existent. He was non-existent. They did a good job on their Facebook page, but he personally, if you followed him as a friend on Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere, you might have known he owned this restaurant, but you never heard about it. Within a week of COVID-19 hitting, every post on his personal account is basically begging for people to do business with him. And I'm looking at this like, if this was that important to you, why weren't you having conversations the past year? It's only when you need me that you need me. And I caught the ire, I guess, a little bit. And that's one thing that I see that a lot of businesses now, they say, I'll say this, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So I'm glad that this person started. But there's a couple people in my life from a business standpoint that I quit answering their phone call because we used to talk to each other and it was back and forth. And then it got to a point where every time they called me. It was because they wanted something. And I think that too many businesses take it that way. And like, I've got a lot of clients I could highlight, but Brian from Fatty's Smokehouse and out in Oklahoma, in Moore, Oklahoma, he gets on camera every week and just has candid conversations and talks to his customer base. And I think those are the things that make a big difference. And I think that people need to continue to do it. I'm amazed at the number of business people that don't do it. Like I go through my Facebook timeline right now. I'll find Christina, who's a financial planner that I know. I'll find Bridget Conley, who does Mary Kay. I'll find 2 or 3 people like that do live video on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or somewhere. There's not many. And I'm just like, wow, tell your story. Like make a connection with people. And there's somebody on here. What is this comment? Oh, look at that. You're on here twice, Dad. Mom saying happy birthday.
Oh, okay.
It was my birthday gift, Dad. I feel like you'd rip me.
Well, I told you I was bringing it up Tuesday, but we got rained out in our golf league, and so I'll be bringing it up as soon as I can see you.
You know what I have in my bedroom on the dresser?
Where's my Christmas present?
I have your Christmas present.
It's what? It's June.
It's May 21st. It's been a weird year. We didn't get to see each other. I was traveling a lot in January. We didn't see each other. I got back. I traveled a bunch in February, got sick, had my surgery, and then COVID-19 hit, or what is this thing called? Yeah, COVID-19. Let's see what this is. Albert says owners hide themselves from their business. They're too afraid people show their names or faces. Salespeople pester them. Yeah, I mean I could see that. That's an excuse though. I mean it's pretty damn easy to find out who owns the business. You got to
be glad they're pestering you. Get they're pestering you, they like you.
Well, what's good. One thing I'll bring this up. So I went into a Porsche dealership back when I was about 25. It was up on Dana. Is it Dana? Wasn't it that road? It's up south of Fairfield. And like Route 4 is here. It's down below. I can't think of that strip. There was a Porsche dealership there.
Yeah, Dana Avenue.
Okay. And the guy who was there, he didn't know this. I was the sales rep for radio advertising. And I had called on him numerous times. That visit, I was there to buy a Porsche. I had my checkbook in my pocket. I made plenty of money. I had my title with me. I was there to find a Porsche because that was my dream. I'm sitting in his office talking to him, and one of his employees comes in and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were with somebody." He goes, "Oh, don't worry about this guy. He's a nobody."
Oh, hello. Hello.
Screw you, buddy. And so after she left, I finished my thing. I left, went and bought a Nissan 350Z.
That's when you bought your 350Z.
Yeah, I custom ordered that. Was like the first 350Z, a second one in the Midwest. And, I could have spent 50 grand that day. I think I spent like 40 something on the Z. I could have spent 100 grand. It didn't matter to me. I had the money, but it blew me away because I'm like, wow, I'm a successful advertising person. Yes, I'm in here. You think I'm here to sell your advertising. That's the relationship you might know me as. But everybody that tries to sell you something is also a customer, especially if you're a restaurateur. If you're a restaurant,
the minute you lose sight of that, you're dead. Yeah,
you ought to clamor to talk to everybody that can possibly come your way. Now, I know it's tough because there's a lot of people out there, but man, your whole goal is shake hands and kiss babies. But yeah, Albert's got that right. That when he says that they're trying to hide, they don't be pestered by salespeople. That's a poor perception by a lot of business owners, and you need to make connections with people.
Well, one of the better stories, remember we had our retail store. Guy came in one day, he wanted to buy a John boat for $1,200. And one of my salesmen said, I ain't waiting on him. He ain't going to buy nothing worth mentioning. And so I said, okay, I'll handle it. Okay. And the guy was driving a Mercedes and no one bothered to see that. I didn't see it at first. And I said, okay, fine. So I waited on the gentleman and he said, would you do me a favor? He said, would you deliver it? And I said, sure, I'll be happy to deliver it. No charge. So that afternoon, I hooked it up and put it on my vehicle and took it over to his house. His house was worth about $3 million. The lake that he was going to put it on was behind his house, and he was putting it in the lake for his grandson, so his grandson could play in his own lake that he had built in a $3 million house. I never thought any more about it. About 4 months later, he shows up at our store and he wants to buy a $90,000 boat. And he says, the reason why I'm buying the boat from you is you went over and above I'm buying my little John boat. And he says, you're the only guy who was willing to even talk to me, and you delivered it for nothing. He says, so I'm buying a boat from you, no questions asked. Well, the salesman walked up. He said, well, that's my customer. I said, I says, you wouldn't talk to him when the John boat was here, so you ain't talking to him now.
I remember. Oh, I remember that happening a lot, Dad. You were the king of that. You treated everybody identical. I remember one time we were in Home Depot in Florence, Kentucky when I was a kid. It might have been Lowe's, I think, actually back then. And this guy walked up, and I was little, probably 12, 13, 14. This guy walked up who looked pretty rough from a standpoint of what he looked like and how he presented himself. And he walked away, and you said, hey, I want to give you a lesson. I said, what? You said, what'd you think of that guy? I'm like, hey, it looked kind of rough, Dad. Look, who was that guy? And you're like, don't ever judge a book by a cover. That's the richest guy in Northern Kentucky. And I'm like, oh. He's like, yeah, you never know. He's like, a lot of people will judge somebody. And you always, at our boat dealership, you never let that happen. Like, people would walk in all the time, and if they were buying a $1,000 John boat or a $3,000 used fishing boat or an $80,000 boat, they got treated identical.
Well, probably one of the best lessons I ever learned was I had a client that came from Colombia, and he was very, 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 very wealthy, but he was a farmer. So he always walked around with bib overalls on and no shirt. Okay. He drove a Cadillac. Well, all of a sudden one day he shows up at my office. Okay. And he's all upset. He's just fuming. He's sitting there. He says, Dwayne, I went to the Lincoln Mercury dealer and I was going to buy 6 Lincoln Mercuries, one for my kid, one for me, one for my wife, and he had one for his daughter. And he was going to buy 6, about $150,000, $200,000 sale. And he was going to buy a Pinto. Okay. And so he goes to the dealer, and the guy wouldn't even talk to him. So he walks into my office. He says, Dwayne, I'm sure you know the guys there. I said, yeah. He said, would you go with me? So we went into the place. And I said, I walked up to the guy who owns the place. And I said, this gentleman would like to buy 6 of your vehicles. And he's still in his bib overalls, but he's got a briefcase with about 200 grand in it. Okay. And he says, and he looks at me, he says, I said, who's the guy who wouldn't wait on you? He points to him. I said, that's the guy who wouldn't wait on him. He can't get any commissions. So he ended up buying 6 cars, pulled out the briefcase, paid cash for all 6 cars, walked out. And perfect lesson. Don't ever judge the cover, the name of the cover. It is unbelievable. Bad move.
Yeah. Oh, I agree completely. Okay. Well, that's our time. We're done for the day.
Someone just said something.
Yeah, I popped up here. He said lots of gold nuggets, lots of fire and gold nuggets. Glad I came on this live.
Cha-ching, baby.
Cha-ching, baby. Okay. Dan, what shirt you got on? Is that your fake Matt Flap shirt or the real one?
No, that's the original.
Okay.
See, the fact you can't even tell things that I did a good job of buying my own shirt.
Your lighting. We got to get you that ring lighting.
Well, I looked at it this morning, and I got the okay from Lorinda, my wife, to buy it. $39.
There you go.
How's my microphone? Is my microphone pretty good?
Did you buy it yet?
No, I haven't officially gone online yet. I was going to go on this afternoon and buy it.
Okay, well, go online and buy it.
Huh?
I said, go online and buy it.
Cha-ching, baby.
Cool.
Dexter says cha-ching, baby.
Yep, I'm out of here. I got to call it 4:30, call it 5, or call it 6, call it 7.
Well, good afternoon. Have a nice day. Love you, baby. Mom says goodbye, and she loves you.
Love you too, Mom. Love you, Dad. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.